All right, we'll switch to the old format. Let me know if you guys like this format, vertical video, bigger narrator, or would you rather just have me keep it the old way? Up to y'all. This is my second lower body day of this training block, and it's an easy day relative to everything that's happened before. So there's been an upper day, there's been a lower day. Those are two powerhouse days, and then I have this day that kind of feels almost easy, but it makes sense. It makes sense for my situation. But I think for most folks, you just can't do everything within the confines of a training block. I think that's something that newer programmers fall victims of, is they have all these skills, all these new tools, and they want to throw everything in at once. That's just going to be very impractical. It's going to look not so practical on paper, and then once you get in there and do it, it's going to feel not so good. It will be confirmed. Starting with this more standard, like lat pull down, I'm doing this one with a little bit more of a Terry's Major flair because I have a lot of lat, but those little like meatballs on the side that I think look amazing, I just don't have much of. I'm supersetting this movement with my anterior delt press, shoulder press. And this first set, like a lot of my pressing in this block, first set is like full lockout, higher reps. And again, this is just like orthopedic reasons. Like, and because there's a muscle that muscle will benefit from this as well. But it's kind of like my proxy set. It lets me know how well things are going. So from a very clear point A, very clear point B, and we have at it. So I am supersetting these two movements, my vertical pull, my vertical press, and there isn't a whole lot of conflict, but there's always some conflict when you are supersetting. Not always. Like if you're doing limbs, antagonist pairing there, like there won't be too much, but there will be a little tricep from the pull down that leaks over into this press. But it's better than a horizontal press, a chest press, because people don't realize this, but when you're pulling like from overhead, your pecs are definitely doing something, especially out here in this position. I mean, think about it. Your pec is kind of like a mini lat on the front side. So it's doing work too. And so yeah, triceps a little beat. But the good news is that only my first set is full on, where there's more triceps, and everything after that is kind of like, yeah, it's a soft lockout, which I absolutely love. Soft lockouts. Like I've said before, they've always felt intuitive to me. I kind of beat them out of me for no good reason when I think about it. And now that, hey, I know a little bit more, I can justify why I'm doing them. Yeah, it's like, yes, like I just, again, it fits like a glove. I think most people will feel that way too. Most people who have some experience and some muscle under their belt, so they'll be like, yeah, soft lockouts just feel so much better. This was my follow-up set to the first set, and this block is new enough where, yeah, like I still make mistakes. And you can see there's a distinct difference in this movement compared to, in the pull down here compared to the other one. I just wasn't flared as much, and I wasn't really letting my scapula come up as much as I should. So again, one of the main reasons you record yourself is so that you can audit things in real life, in real time, and make those adjustments as you go, as opposed to, 8 weeks into a block and you're like, oh shoot, I've been doing it like that. So it's funny. It feels weird when you record yourself. I get that. Even in this gym where it's like, it's almost encouraged. When I pull out the tripod, I can't help but have this visceral, like weird feeling. It's my second set of these. I got to work a little bit more on just keeping a flatter torso, or bringing down the bench, because the bench angle absolutely does matter in regards to how much delt there is. But so does the humeral path, right? And even though I was a little bit too flared there, it's like I'm not going over, I'm not pressing in this direction, going over my chest, but just to keep it from getting, it's just that I'm managing too many things, like if I don't sort that out. So it's either going to be work on that rib cage position, or bring down the incline a notch. And then my last set here, higher rep, pumpy work, soft lockout again. All right, back to what we're used to. Rear delt rows, which I think the way I perform these, I've mentioned this before, It's just not how everyone else does. But the way I like to explain the humeral path that I am taking, there's this nice little pocket here where bringing your humerus back, you can almost do it like in a flick. It's a very fast, like choppy movement. It's almost like skiing. I've never skied, but I imagine it's similar, where you can just feel that there isn't a whole lot of like scapula and trap involved, and you can see that thing working. But yeah, this is my rear delt row, full ROM into partials, like all my pulling movements, and this is what was supposed to be dips per this program. But this gym that I'm currently training at, and I'm training here because, first of all, I love the people here. Great vibe, great energy, a lot of young folks who are just getting after it, and that always makes me happy to see. But on most days, they have the garage doors open, so I don't feel like I'm inside, which matters a lot when you work from home, right? Because it's like I work from home, and my break, my training break, is more indoor time. Only thing I dislike about lifting, like I wish we could lift outdoors, but yeah. So I'm replacing that with just like some feet up on the bench, lowish RPE dumbbell chest pressing, because the dip, the way I have it set up, it's for a little bit more chest, a little bit more lean forward. So I figured, hey, I do a decline earlier in the week. We'll make this a flat and feet up, just so that, yeah, I don't get myself in trouble with like just too much overlap, because I'm used to, having my main chest pressing take place once a week. Also, it changes the angle of my rib cage. My boy Jonathan Horn would appreciate this, and it just feels like just a different press variation that I haven't exhausted. And I need a lot of chest variations compared to most folks to just get some sort of semblance of a chest. Some body parts, no, but chest for me, absolutely. And so, yeah, maybe there's something there, but also it just feels good because I haven't wrecked myself like through years and years of lifting in these planes. And I say wrecked loosely. Generally, I think better than most people like in their 40s. And then I was supposed to do the dumbbell pec fly, but instead I opted for this. I wanted to try this movement, this pec deck with a slight lean forward. I have a yoga block back there tied up to see if I maybe prefer this one. And yeah, there's a few kinks to work in my setup, but it's just new, it's different. It's definitely something I'm going to let the guys in the training group know it is an option. But it's as of right now, it's as mindless as a new exercise gets, because whenever you do have something new, you know how it goes. It's like you're thinking and doing, and it takes a few weeks before you get to the point where you're mostly just doing. You're always cognizant of your technique, but right now there's a lot of thinking and doing, even though it is a machine movement. So it seems like this one will be a keeper. But yeah, for me, pecs, with a lot of the muscular in the torso, a lot of it has to do with how much variety you're going to need. It has to do with like how vertical the muscles run, right? That's why you see those guys with like really short torsos. They usually have some good pecs and some good lats, some good mid back, because everything is just kind of compact. So everything gets hit on basically any movement. Maybe not as long torsoed as I used to think I was. It's longer than average, but it's not super long, but it's long enough where if anything, like my back musculature is kind of compressed. But when you go out to the front, it's like I have all this space here in the ab area. Well, actually the inverse, I have all this space up here in my pec area, which makes it so that, hey, like, unlike some folks that like have really compressed pecs, like they might be able to do one movement and have pretty complete pec development. For me, it's just going to take a nice variety, a nice little cocktail of movements. This is the last movement of the day, and it's going to be just what I'm doing is I'm doing my across the body lateral raises and my behind the body lateral raises, like one after the other. And for certain movements, like we always talk about like volumetrics, and it's always hard to give people anything other than a generic answer that, hey, somewhere in the, we'll say, to be safe, like anywhere between 6 to 12 sets is of direct work for an area is going to be plenty for most. But it changes a lot, like based off, like, again, just like how the person's like put together, how strong they are, your injury, orthopedic history in that area, like what's best for you, like changes, right? But like I think, and you guys know all that yeah, it's a very person dependent answer. But something that I think is overlooked sometimes is how you sequence certain movements together. And on this day, I'm sequencing the across the body, which is going to get, like the main heads of the medial delt, the ones that do the most medial thing possible, right? Or lateral head, whichever term you prefer, but the ones that run more straight down. But on the sides of those, you're going to have some that are kind of like hybrid fibers that are a little bit more, some aid the anterior delt, and then some aid the posterior delt in what they do. And by kind of having, hammering away at all of them in kind of one go, I feel that I get so much more from each one of these exercise variations. Should have explained myself. I'm performing myo reps, which these days I just simply perform all my isolation work this way. And I've mentioned that a number of times, but once you understand the size principle, like restarting the process just seems like, it just seems like such a waste of time. So I'd rather get to that point where I am, where I have all like the big fast twitch muscle fibers like alive and kicking, and then just kind of rinsing and repeating and keeping it in that process instead of having to perform all those buy-in reps to get to those hard to reach muscle fibers. So from a practical standpoint, I like it. From a time saving standpoint, I like it. And as you get deeper into a prep, again, it's going to serve, there's going to be some extra bonus benefits. The main one I can think of is that when you're deep into a prep, like you start your training and you're like, okay, I got like 45 minutes before I start to kind of feel that blood glucose like trickle down into zombie mode. So it condenses your training. So you spend less time training in that state. And then the other thing is it's also glycogen sparing. And here's the deal with like glycogen sparing, because it sounds counterintuitive. It's like, don't you want to deplete so that you can burn into fat stores? And it's like, yeah, that's going to be part of it, but it's kind of the cost of doing business. It's not necessarily a direct goal. You want to be only as depleted as you need to be in order to lose the fat that you want to lose. So, and in my experience, like any prep where I have lost muscle, I can go back and trace it to certain segments in that prep where I was at that naughty level of stringiness for way too long, and I hadn't developed that push-pull sort of dynamic, that instinct, that approach. And these days I do so much better at that. Like my calories range up and down quite a bit. Like I've mentioned before, a lot of this is very intuitive at this point. I don't necessarily track. I just kind of know how much I should eat. And again, I just kind of read the room, and then like based off that, I make not only my day-to-day decisions, but sometimes, actually most of the time, my meal-to-meal decisions. Unique way of doing it, right? However, I do think that in the future, especially with a lot of these young incoming bodybuilders being exposed to a lot of the fundamentals. Like anyone who's been doing this for a while now will tell you that, like, yeah, we did a lot of things wrong, and you can see how these kids get to benefit from our mistakes, and like sometime in year one they're doing a lot of things right. That's not everyone, but that is a lot of the smart cookies, a lot of the very resourceful young bodybuilders. You will see that, man, like that took me till like, I don't know, year 10 to figure out. And you know, you're 19 years old and already doing it now. So it's no surprise to me that we're seeing more and more elite level physiques, especially in the natural bodybuilding world, from athletes that are in their early 20s. And I think this trend will continue. We'll see more and more of that, and even see that age range like move down a bit over the next few years. So I'm really excited about that, because man, you get someone who's been doing most things right since the age of 17, 18. What are they going to look like in their 40s, right? So exciting time to be around, especially if you're a resourceful bodybuilder. One thing worth noting is that I have not seen this footage myself just yet. So decided to go into Revolution, same gym I've been training at. They have a wonderful posing room, and just get a full spin in the posing trunks. As of right now, this is my weight, and I'd say, again, like t-shirt, shorts, like it looks pretty good, but posing trunks, again, they tell you everything. This is about how far off I am. Well, this is my current weight. This is my current body weight as of right now. I feel that for a lot of folks, they see that and they see me in the trunks and they're like, so you're going to be like peeled, and ideally like more peeled than ever, in like 10 or so pounds. And I think so. And I think this is a mistake I've made in the past, and I think a lot of bodybuilders still make. And that is, a pound of fat is very voluminous. I think it's just under 500 cubic centimeters. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's around there. And quite often what you'll see is a lot of guys like kind of in this pre-shredded look, and then like they still lose like 3 to 4 pounds, and then another 4 weeks goes by and they lost another 2 or whatever. And to me, that's like, maybe a lot more muscle is going than you think. So during this prep, I'm willing to just be a little bit more risque, patient, and that push-pull game that I play quite often, playing that even more assertively, which so far it's been working. There's been stretches of time where I haven't lost weight and I've gotten leaner. So to me, this tells me that I am salvaging a lot of muscle. And also from a performance standpoint, this is probably the most strength I've been able to keep ever while prepping. So who knows, like, am I being too conservative? We'll see. If I need to turn on, that next gear, I will. Man, ab thigh poses look bad when you're not in shape. And when you aren't holding your quads right. So we'll see. But again, like my bodybuilding, like I'm kind of a guinea pig for my own clients in a way. I'm willing to take certain risks that maybe with them I wouldn't have them take. So I'm optimistic, and we'll see by the end of this year if I was right or wrong. But as of right now, this is what I look like at about 16 weeks out from my first show and 20 from my last show. So with that said, I do think I'm going to spurt a little bit as I go into the second half of this month. And by spurt, I might take a pound to 1.75 pounds off and see what that looks like, and then like reassess the plan. But again, I'm being very cautious. I'm trying not to have happy feet about it, because like I know how to get peeled, but it's not just about being peeled, it's about keeping everything you have, or as much of it as possible. So that's where we are at the just under 17 weeks out mark. Again, I'm feeling good. Doesn't feel like a diet still. The only thing, and you might have noticed from this video, where I do need to like really get on it is just starting to be consistent with my posing practice. So that is like my non-negotiable for next week. Just get it in, like whether it's first thing in the morning, if time allows. A little different when you have kids, and or if it just has to be like right before bed, or split in 2-3 times like over the course of the day. Just get it in, because if you've ever competed in a natural bodybuilding show, sometimes they'll keep you up there for 15 minutes, 20, 30. My first pro show, 45 minutes. And usually they do keep the pros up there a little bit longer, especially in the lighter weight classes, because there's usually more entries there. So they have a lot of people to sort out. So yeah, this is where we're at. Everything is good. Yeah, so far, maybe 2 instances where I've felt a little, I am using stored fat as fuel. But other than that, it's been super straightforward, been easy, dare I say, with the exception of me being naughty about not getting my posing in. But starting next week, you'll see. I'll have that to report to you guys that I didn't miss a day, because, yeah, once you commit to something within the confines of a contest prep, any seasoned competitor will tell you that, yeah, once it becomes a non-negotiable, it gets done. But yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. I'll see y'all next week.